Hey there everybody, it is Big Dave and I am back doing another episode of Breaking Out, where I try to break out of bounds in the Hitman games. In the first episode we did all of Hitman Season 1 or Hitman 2016, and today we're going to be doing all the maps on Hitman 2. Starting of course with Hawke's Bay, though I will tell you up front there's not much you can see or do in Hawke's Bay. It is very small, but we're going to do it anyway. I actually meant to get this episode out sooner than now. I had recorded several hours of video and they magically vanished off my hard drive. I'm sure it's some stupid mistake I made, but I am choosing to blame my cat. I assume he sneaks into my office in the middle of the night and deletes all my footage, because he is a cat and is therefore a jerk. So what I'm going to try to do is find a place like this where there's a natural rise in the land and it kind of comes up to meet the fence that creates a very small area for us to try to hop over. So let's see if we can get it. Alright. So as you can see, we got over the fence and everything is still kind of blurry, but as you walk away it gets less blurry. So that blurriness is only right around the edge of the map. Now once we get out here, there's really not much to do, honestly. It's just a giant beach area, and we're gone. So that's basically the entire outside of Hawke's Bay. It does not go very far. It's basically just more sand, more grass, and there's really not much to look at. And now we've disappeared as we sink into oblivion. Alright, so unlike in Hawke's Bay, the Miami map actually had several places where you can break out of bounds, and there's a lot you can explore here, which makes it a pretty cool map. The first thing we're going to do is get out onto the racetrack. Now this is probably something you've seen other YouTube videos of, but we're going to do it anyway, and I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very easy. So really, to get out on the racetrack, all you need to do is find one of the bridges that goes over the track, come out onto it, and set up your boosting setup here. I'm not going to go over all the details again of how to do the boosting setup. If you want to see that, just check out the first episode of Breaking Out, where I go over it into more detail. Alright, there we go. We are now out onto the racetrack, and as you can see, these race cars don't have any collision at all. So they can run right through you and it's no big deal. However, you can shoot them and cause lots of accidents. And you can actually get rid of Sierra Knox this way if you want to. Now we can actually run along the racetrack for quite a good ways. Now as always, with any time you break out of bounds in the Hitman games, you have to be careful for the edge. You never know where that edge is going to be. Usually it's hidden behind blurry textures. We've seen things popping in and out of existence here. So that's why you want to bring a gun. See how this texture here is a little bit different from this texture here? And we can't shoot it, there's no ricochet. That's a pretty clear indicator that we cannot walk on this area. So you want to watch out for that, or we're going to fall through the level, just like we did in Hawke's Bay. So as you can see, even though these things are popping in and out of existence, their collision does still exist. But we can get through right here. You can also walk on the sidewalk. There's a random weird texture, or it's some numbers. I think these may be the numbers that are supposed to be on this license plate right here, and they've spawned like a full car lengths away. I don't know why, that's weird. One thing I like to do, as I mentioned in the last episode, whenever you're playing around out of bounds, once you do finally get out of bounds, go ahead and drop yourself a save point. It'll make it a lot easier if you have to come back after you inevitably accidentally walk off the edge of the level. And the save points work just fine. Even though you're out of bounds, they will respawn you back out of bounds. So here we're just on the back half of the track. You can walk around some of these areas. Again, you always want to be careful of areas that you're going to fall through. This, of course, is where the garages are. We can see the exterior of the garage is a part that you really only normally see during the cutscene, like when you're working on Sierra Knox's car as it comes in for a pit stop. There's her car right there. Oh no, wait, that's not her car, that's Moses Lee's car. So once again, when you get outside of the levels, as we kind of illustrated a lot in the first episode, you get a lot of these weird graphical glitches, things popping in and out of existence. I mean, you can see the texture on this wall right here is going crazy. It just does not know what to do when you are out of bounds. So again, we can follow the racetrack quite a ways. You can say we've come all the way around the map, but we've got these areas here where we just cannot go. You will always eventually run into areas you cannot walk on, unfortunately. And this area right here is actually kind of the area you can see, if you look right there, that's the starting spawn location, that's the gate. So if you turn around and look through the gate, you'll see these NPCs kind of milling about. But I don't think we can actually get to that area. As you walk toward it, it just kind of just kind of vanishes. But as we walk back, we can see there is a guardrail that goes all the way across between these two walls. And even though it does vanish, it still has collision. So we cannot walk over there. Another good place to get out of the map on Miami is actually in the upper left corner of the map. You'll find a place where these walls kind of come together, and we can boost up onto here and then run along this railing and get way back in there. So let's set that up. Yeah, this guy's trying to figure out what is going on with your clipboard, man. That looks painful, dude. Anyway, this is another easy boost to get, and once you're up here, you can walk off onto the rocks and walk a little ways out of the water, but you'll fall off the map pretty quickly. Or you can just run along this fence here. So you can kind of see this break in the floor here and the geometry that goes underneath. So we can tell that the floor here is pretty sketchy, so you want to kind of fall off at an angle and land on that, but that area is not. So just this little thin strip right here. Now the grass over here and these walls actually do have collision. It's just this brick sidewalk that does not, unfortunately. So you can just kind of follow this wall all the way around the map. There's some things to see back here, I guess. There's this building, if you want to look at that for some reason. There's some cars that alternately are or are not floating in midair. There's the rest of Miami, which is apparently just buildings that are half sunk into the ocean. So if we follow this all the way back, we get to this gigantic pink building, which does have collision, but again, the sidewalk does not, and the ocean has turned into a giant black hole. So really from this point, there's not much you can do except walk off into oblivion. Alright, so now we're on to Colombia, where there are also a few different things you can do. One of which is right near the beginning. We can actually go over to this bridge and boost right over this railing and get into this little waterfall area. Now there's not a whole lot we can explore down there. There's not a lot of solid ground to walk on, but let's go ahead and do it. Alright, so as you can see, once we get down there, you can't even see the floor you're standing on. At first it looks like you're just going to fall through into nothingness again. But there is actually a floor down here. You just can't see it, so there's not very far we can go. As you can see, even if you shoot the ground, you don't get any ricochets or bullet holes, so you don't really know where the ground is. But you can walk around in this area. You can head out this way until you eventually fall off. Or you can head over here and look at the underside of the waterfall if you want to. And the bottom of these rocks, which now just look like they're floating in midair. Yeah, so this is what the underside of the waterfall looks like. in case you were interested. And of course, if you run out too far, here we go, falling down into the map. If we come over to the bridge that's near the construction site area, you can also boost over this railing and get onto the edge of the rocks here, or over here onto these rocks where the bridge connects to the ground. So once we're down here, of course, like always, you just got to watch out for areas you can and cannot stand on. These rocks have collision, but once you get down into the water, it's a lot trickier. The area between these rocks and the shoreline seems to have collision most places, but of course if you walk out into the water over here, you're definitely going to fall through the map. Just kind of hug the wall here as best you can and get around all these trees and stuff. If you walk under this bridge, it seems to be a safe place to walk. And then we can get out onto this area next to the construction site. Now, as you can see, I'm being spotted here because this is still a trespassing area. And there is a pretty big wall here, so you can't actually walk up onto this beach. It's stopping me right here at the edge of the water. But you can make your way all the way around all those logs and everything, and then get up here on the outside of the construction area. And then once you're over here, you can explore around outside of this fence. Of course, you always want to test the ground to make sure you can walk. And as you can see, it looks like we're wading through mud because the collision is not quite on the same plane as the textures. And then you can actually work your way back onto the map very easily. Just by going around these trees and rocks and stuff, you will actually just naturally kind of find your way back onto the map. So this is one I actually haven't tried, I just thought of. If we spawn over here in the shaman hut area, there's actually a little part right here where the rocks are kind of low. So let's see if we can boost over into that little grassy area there. That didn't work. We'll give it another shot. Nope. Oh, let's go. Okay. All right. So, that boost launched us up into the freaking atmosphere there. But as you can see, we made it out into the grassy areas. Only took me a couple tries. So there's the shaman hut. They're all freaked out because they don't know what the hell just happened. Oh, I'm being shot at. Okay. There's the I'm being shot at because they saw me place that breaching charge and then boost. Anyway, so that's where we spawned, and so now we're out into this grassy area, and I've never actually been out here before, so let's explore and see what's over here. Huh. So there's like a pit here for some reason where this... It's almost like there's a pit here from where this tree fell over, but the textures aren't finished. There's no roots or anything. That's weird. There's a boat over here that the water's not showing up, but it looks like that would be way underwater. I'm not sure why that would be there. Oh, there, and we're gone. Well, that didn't last very long. Okay, so, even though it seemed like the grassy area there was pretty easy to walk on, it did not actually extend quite as far as I thought it would. So if you go exploring in that area, just be aware that it is very easy to fall out of the map. So now we're back near the cocaine fields area. I just put on a disguise so people will not pay attention to me. And let's see if we can boost over the edge of this bridge here and get into this creek. Hey, and we're gone. Okay. That was another one that I hadn't tried before. Apparently there is no surface in that creek that you can walk on, at least not near that bridge. Alright, now moving on to Mumbai. There's one area back in the train yards that I've personally found is kind of the easiest area to get a good boost on and get out of bounds. Once we're back here, we're going to be looking for this area that's got all this garbage and tires and stuff stacked up here. These tires where there's just two stacked to make a pretty low barrier that we can pretty easily boost up onto. Whew, crazy. It's another one where it kind of launches you way up in the air, but we got up here. So once you're up on these tires, you can just walk off the other side. Now, you can't go very far down the tracks, unfortunately. Once you get back here to this area, it just kind of stops you with an invisible wall. But you can walk between these like shipping containers and get back into this area here, which you can walk on. Now, it's just kind of a big, wide open area. You know, the back sides of a lot of these walls don't have textures. But you can kind of explore back around in here if you want to, and see the back sides of these buildings. And then as you get over here, you see these kind of fake NPCs milling about over here. That's because this is near the default spawn location. And as you can see, it's kind of blurring and it's saying leaving mission area. Normally you would spawn kind of on the other side of this bus, on the other side of this traffic here. And it's also an exit, so that when you're done with the mission you can exit through here, but you would never normally be back this far. And these NPCs are just kind of the background for if you're on the other side of the traffic looking in this direction. Now, as we leave that area, unfortunately there's not too much further we can go. You can see the clear line here that separates where we can and cannot walk. But you can go over to the edge of this building, kind of get behind it and walk around in here. Again, not much to see, just another big open area where you can walk around, and there's wall textures glitching in and out of existence because the game does not know what you're doing. You can see the searching and notification on top of my mini-map is also going crazy. I don't know why it's doing that. But, you know, whatever. The game's having trouble keeping up with us. So I kind of did explore other areas of Mumbai over near the construction site. I thought maybe I could get around this fence somehow and walk on the other side. Or maybe over there on the backside of the Chawls. But really I couldn't find much else in the way of being able to get out of bounds. So if you guys know any other areas in Mumbai where you can get out of bounds and go exploring, comment below and let me know, because I would definitely love to check it out. So now we're in Whittleton Creek, and the place I'm going to use to get my boost is actually right near the beginning. I'm just going to head over here to this fence, hang a left, and take it all the way back to Whittleton Creek itself. Now, once we're back here, we'll hit an invisible wall right around where this grass is, and we can't actually boost through this wall. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Okay, there we go. It can be a little tricky. It usually takes me a few tries to get over that barrier. Now, you'll find that you can actually walk down into Whittleton Creek. You can just walk along the creek bed, I guess, and you can walk this way and kind of see an area back behind where you spawn. Of course, you don't want to go very far. As you can see, the ground ends here. Now, when you first boost out, if you kind of hug the fence here and climb up on this rock, you can work your way around and actually get inside this yard over here. And you can even find another house back here. Of course, you can't go in this house, and it gets blurry because you're leaving the mission area. But it would be pretty neat if you could get into this house. You can't hop the railing like normal. You can't go up the stairs, unfortunately, either. You can go in the garage, but it looks a little precarious, so I don't recommend that. But you can run on the street out here back behind the bus stop spawning location and come over here and look at other parts of the neighborhood, at least the ones that aren't glitching out of existence. So once you're back here, you can kind of see, well, it's popping in and out, but you can kind of see where the edge of the texture is. You can't do much walking beyond that point, so if we see, it's kind of right there. Once we get over there, we fall right through. So there's not much back here anyway. Another house is back there, but again, you can't get inside those houses. Now, once you're down inside the Whittleton Creek, you can actually run the complete length of it from the beginning of the level all the way around to the back side of the level. Things, as you can see, are popping in and out of existence, but you can get around the obstacles and run all the way around. Now, once you're on the back side, you do want to be careful because this area right here, you cannot walk on that area. So you want to stay on the part that's grassy, not the part that's muddy. Okay, so here we are in the opposite corner from where we first spawned. This fence here would normally mark the edge of the map that you can go to, but the creek itself goes well beyond that, so we can go well beyond that. Alright, so once we get way back here, back to the furthest house in the back corner, you can see it all turns muddy down here, so this is where Whittleton Creek itself ends. We can't go past that point. Now, I believe there is a way to kind of work yourself up onto these rocks and get out of here and explore kind of this yard area back behind the fence. I feel like I've seen somebody else do it. I have not been able to replicate it myself, so I can't say definitively that you can do it. But I feel like I have seen it done by somebody before, so maybe you can do it. Maybe you're able to scale these rocks, just kind of wiggle your way up there somehow and find your way out into these backyards. But if you can, I imagine it's just going to be kind of a flat area with some fences and some houses you can't get into. So, but anyway, that's the majority of the Whittleton Creek area. Alright, so here we are on the Isle of Scale with its constantly churning waters. There's not a whole lot we can do here, honestly, but let's see what we can do. Alright, so that was another one that kind of sent us way up in the air, and as you can see, we are not standing on anything. So a little bit interesting there, but we do have these rocks that we can kind of walk around on. Now, once we are out here, there's not a ton of places we can go, but you can, you know, explore the rocks for a little bit until you fall into the ocean. Most of the rocks out here do have collision that match the terrain. So if it looks like it's a hill you can walk up, then it probably is, though that's never guaranteed when you're out of bounds. So again, really not much to see out here as you work your way around the castle. Although you will find a boat back here, which I believe is probably your getaway boat. And I'm guessing it spawns back here where you don't normally see it. And then when you actually exit the level, it warps to whatever exit you're at, and that's the boat you use to escape on. So I'm trying to work my way around here to see if I can get to the boat, but rocks are glitching in and out of existence. It's hard to tell where you can and can't walk, and I'm rapidly approaching a very large wall that I don't think I'll be able to climb, but let's find out. Okay, I actually got up there. just by wiggling around up that incline. I did not think I'd be able to get up here. Almost definitely will not be able to get up there, however. But let's see how far we can go. There's like a red light glowing out here in the water, right where I'm pointing. I don't know if that's showing up in the recording very well, but I think maybe there's supposed to be a buoy floating there, but instead just the light element is floating there. Kind of weird. I'm genuinely surprised at how climbable these rocks really are, as long as you're kind of careful about what you're doing. I'm basically standing on almost a completely vertical drop here. I mean, you can see the incline is very steep. I don't know how much further I'm going to be able to go. I'm guessing not far. Okay, so I've come to an area with basically sheer vertical drop. I think this is the end of the line for this particular out of bounds. Oh, and there we go. Yeah, that was it. So I climbing on those rocks, I was really able to get a lot farther than I thought I would. Basically, almost around to the complete other side of the map. So that was kind of neat. So I've started on the helipad, the keep spawning location, and I'm going to see if I can't boost over this railing and drop down onto these rocks and walk out on this kind of little peninsula thing out here. Let's see if we can do that. Yo, first try. Nice. Okay, so boosting over that railing seems pretty simple, actually. We got out onto these rocks. It doesn't seem like they go very far around the wall here. Oh, they kind of do, actually. So we might be able to... Oh, wow. Okay, so that's the first time I've seen that happen. Apparently, I walked into a kill plane where I was just trying to walk around the corner of that wall, and it auto-killed me. So that's very interesting. So let's see if we can set up that boost and get out there again. Okay, nice. So we're 2 for 2. I have tried that boost 2 times and gotten it both times, so I recommend that as a boosting area. It's apparently quite simple to get that one to work. So we know walking up here and going to that corner is going to kill us. I'm assuming this corner might do the same thing, so let's drop down here and see if we can't run out on this rocky outcropping here. So it seems like, much like the other area, all the rocks here have collision that's very similar to their geometry. So if it looks like an incline that you can climb up, it probably is. And from out here, we can actually get a pretty good look at the castle with the water splashing up in front of us dramatically. Alright, so I've kind of worked my way out pretty much to the edge of this thing, right to where the waves are hitting the rocks. Oh, getting my feet wet. So this is pretty much as far out as you can go over here. Again, we can pretty much see almost the entirety of the castle from this viewpoint. There's the helipad over there, and of course the big glass case, which always looked weird to me and out of place on this map. I know what they were going for, but it always just looked kind of weird, but whatever, that's fine. Oh, and it seems like I've gotten stuck in an area here. It looked like I was going to be able to walk through this, but the collision comes together a little too close for us to get through there. Maybe I can get around. Oh yeah, you can get up and around it, so that's not too bad. So the plane where I died, the kill area seemed to be like right here on the corner. This is where I boosted off. I fell down right there, walked over here, and it killed me, which is too bad. I was going to try to follow these rocks and see if I couldn't get out here. But again, there's probably nothing over there. It's pretty much almost the exact same as this, really. It's just more rocks out in the ocean. Now, the bank map provides an interesting challenge because it's a building that you're inside. It's a kind of a self-contained area with walls all the way around it. But there are some things that we can do here. Alright, so what we want to do is come up to this staircase that's guarded by these two guards, and we're coming up to this window, which is actually a secret exit if you crash the stock market. But we are going to boost up onto this ledge and then walk right out this window. So we got a successful boost there, but it actually boosted us up too far. This open area down here is actually the window we were trying to go out of, and it boosted us up above the map. And that's not where we want to be. There's not really much we can do up here, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to try that one again.
What the heck was that?
There it is. Hopped him up right on that ledge. Alright, so once we walk through that window, you see we are now outside of the bank. The ground and street don't have collision, so we fall right through them to kind of a sub-level. So once you're out here, you don't even really need to test the floor with your guns. Out here, it's clearly delineated exactly where you can and cannot walk. You could walk on the big gray square. Anything outside the big gray square, that's a no-go. Now, once you are out here, you can actually run around a large portion of the bank. And it doesn't seem like there's at any point you can actually cross back through any of these walls. They all seem to have pretty solid collision. Now, once we get around this corner here, we see the ground stretches on, but now it actually goes into the inside of the bank. And if you walk in here, you can see certain elements popping in and out. But you can pretty much run around anywhere in here until you get to the white part, of course. But honestly, there's really not a whole lot to see. There's no textures down here. It's basically just a big open gray floor. So you can look up to the street level and see all that traffic and stuff, but unfortunately there's no way to get there from here. And then once you keep heading on around the building, eventually the gray floor runs out and there's nowhere else left for you to go. So you can run all the way around to the back side of the building, not quite all the way around to where we came from initially, but almost all the way around. But again, it's just a big open gray space. The only thing of interest down here is basically kind of seeing the buildings that they use to populate the background of New York. So the only other thing I know how to do here in the bank is to come all the way downstairs to the bank robber spawning point, and we can set up our boost next to this gate, and it does something interesting. So the camera's kind of tricky here, but it has popped us up a little bit closer to the street level. Sorry, it's hard to get a good view because the camera's going crazy. It does not want you to be here at all. So let's walk around a little bit. So if we head out from that area, we actually pop back into reality here, but there's not a lot of places we can go to the right. There's some hovering ground textures here and a tree that's growing directly out of the concrete. We can't walk through these fences, and if we leave this area and try to walk out into the road, reality goes crazy. There is we can walk out here. You can see kind of the shadows of the cars passing through me here. It's weird. It's a little weird. If we walk to the left, everything comes back, but we're not able to walk over there. There's an invisible wall here that we cannot get around. Now, if you back up a little bit to where everything's turned into like the shadow world, you can actually see the collision we were running up against. So with this view, if you actually come over here, you can see where it ends there and comes back here. If you head through this middle area, you can get back out into the road. So if we look off the edge to the left, you can actually see the large gray kind of subfloor area that we were running around just a minute ago. And we can actually run for a little ways out into this road and play in traffic if we want to. And just like on the Miami racetrack, these cars don't have any collision at all, so they're not going to hurt you. But we can run out here to the front of the bank. You can see there's another security truck out here like the one in the basement parking garage. A couple cop cars, and this is basically, whoop, there we go. Alright, so back here again, I wasn't checking the ground like I should have been to make sure I could walk over here, which you cannot. Even though this sidewalk looks solid, if you test it with your gun, it is not. And unlike the sidewalk in front of the bank, the sidewalk across the street, you can walk on. And over here is another one of those details, kind of like the toilet in Paris in the first game. You have this phone booth over here that has very small but completely legible writing on it that you would never see from there. Especially because, as you know, from inside the bank looking out the windows, there's an effect applied for the rainstorm that makes everything even blurrier. Just another good attention to detail. You can actually run a decent distance away from the bank, which is right there. Once you get back here behind these buildings, though, it's basically just an open, flat concrete plain. So you can see down some roads, they end pretty quickly. That one ends in a white area, which I'm sure means you're going to fall off there. Same for that back there. On down there past the bank, we can see where the white area is. And then on down this way, it looks like there's some on the ground, but there's more buildings out there. Let's run down this road and see how far we can get. So pretty far is the answer. You can get pretty far, which is kind of interesting that the amount of floor that you can run on goes out this far. You also notice back here that a lot of these are just these parking garage buildings turned in different directions, so they look kind of different on each side. So you can't go into these buildings and you can't go through them either, it doesn't seem like, but as you get close to them, you disappear. Why? I don't know why, but you do. However, you are still there, your collision is still there, but you can't go up these steps, for example. Well, now the camera's flashing. This game does not want me here. Anyway, that's New York. Alright, and lastly, here we are on Haven Island. Now, I haven't actually practiced doing anything on this map yet, just because I figure there's really not a whole lot we even can do, just because of the nature of the map. But there are a couple things that I would like to try, so let's see what happens. So I think it'd be pretty neat if we could get through this window and walk around on the ocean floor, so let's try that. Now, sadly, while you can boost up onto the ledge the window is on, this window does have collision. It's quite unfortunate, but it doesn't seem like we can get out to the ocean this way. Just kidding, you guys. So, if you get the right kind of boost, it will actually get you, whew, come on camera, there you go. It will actually get you above the ledge and pop you through the window out onto the ocean floor. Now the game really does not like us being out here. As you can see, the camera's going nuts. We're going invisible and coming back. The floor is going invisible and coming back. A lot of times you can't really see what you're doing out here, but you can get out here. Also, I didn't notice this before, but there's a whole palm tree way, oh, there's the fish. Hey, fish. There's a whole palm tree way here underwater. So you can try to walk around on this, but honestly, there's not much place you can go. You can't go past this point here because the rocks have collision, you can't get over them. But there's a hole there and the edge is right there. You can't walk to the edge, but you can fall in the hole, which just gets you stuck. But what about the giant window, right? Can you get through the giant window and out there? Well, you can get up on the ledge, but unfortunately, you can't get out through the window, or at least I haven't been able to. So I thought maybe boosting off of the ledge as close to the glass as I possibly could yield better results. So I got up here by muffin boosting and then kept trying and trying, but was never able to get through the glass. However, I did get boosted up here above the catwalk, Not really anything I can do up here, I don't think. I seem to be just stuck in place. But yeah, that's something that happened. So, alright. So I thought I might try getting into that area of the ocean from the top. And instead of trying to boost through that window, just fall down from above. I had to get a couple people out of the way, which, you know, that happens. And so I'm going to see if I can boost off this diving board, because the big window is right below us here. Also, I don't think I ever noticed that there are like stingrays swimming around out here. Okay. Well, that boost launched us up to the dang moon, man. Holy crap. Alright, we are way above Haven Island right now. The frame rate dropped there like crazy. I didn't know what was going to happen. But, oh, we are definitely outside. Let's see. Here's splashdown. Where are we going to go? Oh, this is it. This is it. We did make it. I didn't know if that was going to work. So here we are outside the giant window in the lab. And it looks like because of where we landed, we can't really go anywhere. These giant corals and rocks don't seem to have accurate collision. There's nowhere I can go. It's kind of an invisible wall here. I'm pretty much stuck, and if I walk out too far, it kicks me back out to the outside and then down into nothingness. We're actually falling now. Alright, so this is my second try. Let's see what happens. Well, that was underwhelming. Here's my third try. Oh, third try, got it. Didn't get the same height as last time, but let's see if we can land in a different place. Yes. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so last time we landed in a bunch of rocks and coral and couldn't move anywhere. This time we're knee deep in the ocean floor sand. Alright, it seems like no matter where I shoot, I'm not getting any ricochets off the ground, which kind of makes sense if the floor that I'm colliding with is below this texture, which it looks like it is, which is why it looks like I'm knee deep in it. Then I'm not going to see any ricochets. Also, unfortunately, that means I really have no way of knowing when I'm going to fall through the map, so let's just explore as much as we can. Well, that didn't last long. Alright, so attempting to approach the window is no good. Luckily, I dropped a save point once I got in here, so let's see if we can go somewhere else. No. No, we cannot. Wow, so even attempting to go backward, really almost any direction from where I landed on that sand, I'm running into no floor to walk on, unfortunately. So there's not a lot of exploring you can do out there in the ocean. And really, that's about all of any interest I found to do on Haven Island, unfortunately. It's one of those maps that kind of suffers from not really having much out of bounds to get into, you know? It's an island. It's surrounded by ocean. Now, I think you can boost on top of the huts and walk around on the roof if you want to, but honestly, that doesn't really show you anything you can't already see. It's basically just the island, but a little bit higher off the ground. So even though it's a bit anticlimactic, that pretty much does it for all the maps in Hitman 2. If you liked this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and I do plan on doing a video just like this for Hitman 3, hopefully in the near future. So look for that. I've been Big Dave, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye. Was this plane always here? Like, I've played this map a billion times and I never have remembered seeing this plane. Is this new? Am I just stupid?